Welcome to the Transformation Show. Wow, it has been a long time since I have said those words. And whether you've been with me for years or you are just finding this space for the first time, I am so glad that you are here. So, a lot has shifted since the last time a Transformation Show podcast was created, not just in my business, but also in my life, my health, and how I actually view and think about what transformation really is and what it's really about. And so, as I start this new season, by being really honest with you, I am not the same woman that co-hosted this show several years ago, and I'm actually really proud of that. And so when you hear someone say to you, "Wow, you've changed," take that as a compliment because it is. And so if you listen to the original Transformation show, you may be wondering, where's Justin? It was Justin and Janell Yule. And Justin is obviously still a huge part of my life and my business. But this next season for me needed to sound different with the work that I'm doing, gut healing, women's health and hormones, nervous system regulation, mindset, and somatically integrating that. It's really deeply personal and it's rooted in a lot of my own recent lived experience. And so this is actually a solo chapter for me. Justin is behind the scenes. He's cheering me on every step of the way. And you may see him or hear from him because we definitely are on this journey called life together. And so he will likely not be a stranger. And so over the course of, to catch you up, over the course of the last several years, because it was, I believe, summer of 2023. If you're anything like me, you kind of get the years a little cajumbled up. And so since then, I've had a lot of healing and transformation in my own life, and I have witnessed so much healing and transformation in the women that I work with. And so I'm going to be bringing a lot of that lived experience to this show. And so, if you are a woman in midlife, if you are high achieving, if you're tired of pushing, you're tired of feeling disconnected from your body, you're tired of outsourcing your power, you are tired of fixing, restarting, trying to always get it perfect, trust me, you're in the right place because this next season and chapter of the show and this entire YouTube channel is going to be dedicated to helping you heal from the inside out with compassion, clarity, and a really regulated foundation. Because in the last, even just recently, 6 months, I have learned and experienced myself so much about having a foundation underneath the transformation that you are wanting to create and you are in process of creating. And I can tell you firsthand, when you don't have that foundation underneath, that's where you end up with autoimmune conditions, chronic symptoms, maybe chronic pain. My flavor of that tends to be burnout. And if I'm being truly honest with you, which that's what this space is all about, I have hit burnout more times than I care to admit, to be honest. And that's the vulnerability coming through. So I want to share with you what you can expect from the show moving forward. And I want to first start by saying I am so proud of what the 250 episodes that Justin and I did together and that I participated in. And some of those were solo episodes or interviews. And that those are not going away, and there is still a really beautiful foundation to mindset, to health, to transformation, on a lot of different levels in those episodes. And I still share those episodes with clients today. I have conversations and say, hey, I'm going to send you a podcast episode that's really going to deepen this for you, and also, have something that they can refer back to in between our sessions. So I really want to acknowledge that, because it was an amazing time, and there's a lot of amazing content there. And so some of you have been around and walked with me through so many chapters. And I also want to express a ton of gratitude for you continuing to show up and be here with me. So, with that being said, the Transformation Life is now the home of all of my coaching programs, everything. The transformationlife.com is the hub, the website. And so I am really stepping into being a full on, like I have been doing, one-on-one coaching and working with gut health and doing advanced functional testing since 2020, when things shifted very much in our brick and mortar business at that time. But now I'm fully, truly stepping into the role of a functional health practitioner. And in addition to that, most recently, a somatic transformation facilitator. And so, really bringing in the nervous system level and the body level, because I firsthand have experienced how powerful that is. And I am witnessing that in the clients that I'm currently working with. So, all things gut health, all things hormonal health, women's health, nervous system regulation, somatic healing, and we can't forget mindset, because the mind and the body are not separate. Not separate. That is a hill that I will die on. I have several hills that I will die on. That is one of them. So I want to let you know what has changed. And why is the show returning now? Like, why did I wait almost 3 years to bring this back? Because I love sharing with you in this way. I love the long form content. I love being able to feel like we're having a conversation. I love that you can take me with you on a walk. I love that you can take me with you while you're cooking dinner or while you're folding laundry or whatever that is, if you are listening to this in podcast form. I also love that it can feel like we're having a virtual cup of coffee if you are watching this via YouTube. So back to what's changed. So many of you know this is we closed our in-person studio this past, well, the end of June, so beginning of July, so this past summer. And it has really taken me some time to process that, to be blatantly honest, and to really recalibrate my identity from being a fitness professional and really truly being a fitness professional for 20 years. So October of 2005 is when I started my career as a fitness professional. And while that work evolved over the course of years, and we started to bring in mindset, and I started to bring in testing, and all of those things started to happen, really at the root, I was still a fitness professional. And I'm proud of that, and I am so grateful for that time, and I'm so grateful for all of the people that I was able to coach and impact, etc. And now again, I'm really stepping into this new season, and I'm really excited about it. Like really, I truly am holding back emotion because I'm very excited about it. And so that transition is led to being fully online. And that is really amazing because the impact that and the reach that I can have is much greater. And so I am super grateful for that. And yet I'm also grateful for the local community that I still keep in touch with and have access to. And Along the way, over the course of the last couple years, I have had many or multiple personal healing chapters. And so the nervous system has been a huge part of that. And recognizing that the hormonal symptoms, the gut symptoms, like I had done so much with, and it got me really, really far. And it got a lot of my clients really, really far. And underneath that, I started to recognize that there was a lot of dysregulation in my nervous system that I was not, I think I was aware of it on a subconscious level, maybe not consciously, but I was not necessarily addressing it. And I didn't necessarily have the tools. And while, again, I was able to support myself and my clients with a lot of things that they were experiencing from an output standpoint, I have really transformed, I'm going to use that word intentionally, my approach to what is the input that's creating the output, and really understanding and learning that the nervous system is at the root of everything. I've moved through seasons of grief. Any time you have a transition, even if you're excited about it. So maybe that transition is a job transition or professional transition. Maybe it's a move. Maybe it is retirement. Maybe it's a transition with your children and being empty nesters, or, the transition into being a grandparent. Like these are just some of the transitions that I support my clients through. Even if you are excited and it is a positive transition, I want you to really think about and recognize, is there grief that needs to be processed underneath that? Is there some grieving? And I think often we may feel off, or we may be experiencing, apathy, or maybe a low grade depression, or maybe it shows up as anxiety, or maybe it shows up as fear. And really what is underneath that is there's grief that we need to be able to feel and process and move through. And I mentioned burnout. And we're going to have some conversations around burnout. This is a big conversation in a lot of spaces and conversations that I have been in with professionally recently. And so we're going to bring that in because, again, burnout is something that I have experienced. The cycle has repeated, and I'm confident in saying that I now have the knowledge and tools and resources that that pattern is broken. I am leaving that pattern. I have left that pattern behind. Somatic practices and nervous system rewiring has happened for me. And I have been really fortunate to have some pretty significant spiritual expansion and healing journeys. And so I needed space to integrate that. And I want to pause on that word integration because this is a huge piece in what I am bringing forward, moving forward with transformation, the conversation around transformation is our nervous systems, our bodies, if we're going to bring them along for the ride, which we need to, especially when it comes to our health, especially when it comes to things like weight loss or chronic symptoms or gut issues or hormonal imbalances, we need integration. And this is something that, in some aspects, in the past, I've had to learn the hard way, as they say. And recently, I have been able to do, and what a difference. Like, I don't even know that I can put the words to it and what a difference it has made. And I was actually having a conversation with my mentor earlier this morning about that and just what a profound impact that has had. And so all of that needed to happen before I came back and returned to the microphone and started talking to you and sharing again. And so, oftentimes I believe as a practitioner, as a coach, I can only take people as far as I have gone. And I needed to go through things and I needed time to integrate those things before I'm able to talk about them. It is really challenging as a human, especially in today's world with all of the social media, the podcasts, the YouTube videos, all the things. And I'm grateful for all of them because that is how we are able to connect. That's how we are connecting right now. And when you are inside of those things, it is really challenging to share. And so this is really also my way of being able to create long form content without it being a 60-second story or snapshot. Because if you have hung around me for any amount of time, you know that I like to go deep. Okay. And we are going to have those deep conversations. So, what the Transformation Show is now, it will be a weekly show devoted to inside out healing. Each episode is going to be recorded once. The exact same content will be on any podcast platform that you are listening to, as well as on YouTube. So, YouTube is a great addition because it adds that visual connection. You can see my facial expressions. You can see my hand movements because, again, if you have heard me speak either virtually or in person, you know I love to talk with my hands. There's also this embodiment. You know, you can see my body language, and there's a different resonance. And so the podcast will remain the grounding audio space for women who prefer to listen on the go. So I love listening to podcasts while I walk, while I drive, while I'm cooking dinner, while I'm folding laundry. Like it is the way that I love to consume content. And so that is staying the same. So two formats, one message. And again, topics are going to be vast. But really, the center is going to be gut healing, women's health and hormone, nervous system regulation, somatic support, stress, energy, mindset, plus some personal stories along the way. And also, probably as this gets going, interviews, because I have some really amazing people in my life. I've had some really amazing mentors recently, and I want to expose those to you. Okay. So the teaching style will remain grounded, compassionate, practical, and nervous system aware. And again, this is a piece of transformation that I have really embodied recently. And so like I said, I'm adding YouTube because a lot of women love the visual connection. Like I said, it feels like we're having a virtual coffee date. It feels like we're sitting in a kitchen having a conversation. And honestly, YouTube is a powerful platform for reach and awareness, which means more women can find me and my work, and my reach and impact can be greater. And so, if you're a podcast junkie like me, you get the audio and you can take it with you on the go. If sometimes you want to have that video connection, you can come to YouTube. So, who is this for? Well, this is for women in midlife, so 35 to 65. However, I am not discriminating because I have worked with women who are well into their 70s and even early 80s, and it is such a joy to work with them. This is for the high achieving, maybe also this, like you've been told, like you're sensitive. Anybody ever heard that? If you have ever experienced burnout, if you feel like you're inflamed, puffy, if you're anxious, if you're overwhelmed, if you are the woman who has tried the diets, you've tried the intermittent fasting, you've done the low carb, you've done all the supplements, the protocols, this is also for the woman who wants to like learn what is actually happening in her body. What is actually the physiology that's going on, whether it's with her gut health, whether it's with hormones, whether it's with the nervous system, like actually truly understanding, because number one, knowledge is power, and applied knowledge is actually where you create the transformation. But first, you need to have the knowledge. And so that's what I'm really passionate about, because As a 43-year-old, almost 44-year-old woman, I am starting to notice some shifts and changes in my hormones. And we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what I'm doing and what I'm experiencing. And if I didn't have the knowledge and the tools and the resources that I have, I would think it's all in my head. I would think that despite my labs being normal, like I feel anything but, and I wouldn't know where to turn. And I want to be that place for you because I work with so many women who have been told all your labs are normal, yet they feel anything but because Western medicine is not looking at it from a functional approach. And the nervous system conversation is not being had. I also, this is for the woman who you want to stop fighting with your body. You are finally ready to tell your body, I'm ready to listen to you. I'm ready to befriend you. And your body is going to say back to you, I've been waiting my whole life for this. There's a quote that I have used in a couple different arenas. I can't remember it exactly, but I just paraphrased it. This is also for the woman who is craving steadiness, safety, and support. You are done. Push, push, push. Go, go, go. Do, do, do. And partially you're done with that because your body is screaming at you in one way, shape, or form. Maybe it's screaming at you physically. Maybe it's screaming at you emotionally. Maybe it is screaming at you mentally, or maybe it has in the past, or maybe it's just yelling loudly right now. But in some ways, you are being communicated with. So, what you can expect each month, each week, is you can expect a new episode each week. So we'll do 4 to 5, I'll do 4 to 5 episodes per month. They will be clear, digestible, teaching, somatic and nervous system insights, because I will always bring that in. Foundations about physiology. Like I said, I want to educate you, practical, sustainable steps. Okay. I want to give you practical application. Like I want to give you the knowledge, and then how do you actually apply that knowledge? We're not here for extremes. We're not here for the all or nothing pressure. We're building transformation through a nervous system friendly lens with consistency being the foundation. And this matters a lot because number one, you cannot heal in the same environment that you got sick in. You cannot lose weight in the same environment that you gained it in. And healing, the foundation of healing on any level, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, begins with safety. And I can speak to this firsthand. I can I know the science behind it, and I can witness this in the people that I work with. And your nervous system will set the pace. And the reason why you swing the pendulum so much between this all or nothing mentality is because it is not, your nervous system is not on board. I'm also all about awareness preceding change. I'm all about less being more. We don't need to do everything. We need to create awareness around what is most important for you and then create change based on that. Because if you are a woman in midlife, you do not need one more thing to do. I can guarantee that. We also want trust before discipline. We want to have that self-trust on board before we can bring in discipline. And like I said, you don't need to work harder. You need to work with your biology, not against it. This is like, I have no doubt that you can do hard things. I can do hard things. If you have been around me, you know I can do hard things. And I'm the first one to say, let's do the hard thing. And I have shifted how, when, and why those hard things look. And so, my invitation to you is to subscribe on YouTube or follow the podcast, whichever one feels best to you, or a combination of both. And then watch the first episode in the January series. It's going to be the perfect place to start. And join our email list for deeper education and support. And so, wow, it feels good to be back here. It really does. Like again, I'm actually holding back some emotion because I'm really excited to be here with you. So thank you for being here with me. And if you are ready to reconnect with your body, to rebuild trust with your health, and to create change that finally lasts, this is the place to do it. And so if you're watching on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And if something resonated with you, please feel free to share it in the comments. I would actually love to hear from you, and I read all the comments. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss the new episodes and they will land right in your feed. So whether you are watching or listening, I am so grateful and honored to walk this next chapter with you. And I will end with saying, have faith and take action.